Hallo, willkommen zurück zu Head as Code. Wir sind gerade mit I unterwegs, denn wir sind auserkoren worden, das Security-Team zu sein. Wir sind durch die alte Station gegangen, haben dabei eins verpasst leider, eine Station, und sind jetzt in einer neuen, was ganz unpraktisch ist, denn hier sollten wir nicht sein. Denn das Ziel war von uns dass wir jede Station angucken und suchen, ob die 9. Person da drin ist, denn A hat die Theorie, dass die 9. Person mobil unterwegs ist. Also sie kann sich von Ort zu Ort bewegen. Und wir sollten darauf aufpassen, dass sie nicht abhauen kann. Leider haben wir jetzt eine Station übersprungen. Das heißt, wenn sie da war... Verdammt. Mission missglückt. Aber die Chance ist gering. Also von daher, wir werden sehen. Jetzt aber ein neuer Raum. Wasting no time. We went up the stairs. What greeted us when we arrived up there was strange. I knew what the speakers had said on the way here. They talked about a church. However, never in my wildest dreams would I have figured out that it was literally a church. What the hell? Oh hey, Spielkarten. I haven't been in a church for a long time. And this is a big place. I looked up. The ceiling was very, very high. A part of me wanted to stick around to appreciate the architecture, but we were pressed for time.
Huh? A church? How weird. I don't know how much use I can be. If you find anything, let me know.
Using a sheet of paper, I shared with her my first impressions. He sat on a bench following her words, and I was free to look around the place. Crack the code! Alles klar, das machen wir mal, ne? Mal gucken, was passiert. Oh boy. Okay, es gibt nur einen Raum, das ist nett. Das ist freundlich. Okay, wir fangen mal von links nach rechts. The architecture of this place was incredible. Placing my head against the surface of a pillar, I could tell this was the real deal. But which church was this? It's not a really big room. Even if it's tall and wide, it's not as tall and wide as the churches you might find in the city. I wonder if this means I'm not over the ground here either. I remembered what I thought about in the library. The windows there were non-existent, but this place had a few of them in the back, and a few more along the walls between pillars. Was it the same here? Were we confined here too? Film ist raus. A sudden idea came upon me. If I broke those windows, maybe I could escape. However, I didn't want to anger any sort of religious deity. As if there would be any to smite me. Grabbing a pot, I flung it right at the window. The window resisted, so I tried again. And again. And again. And again. No matter how many times I tried, whenever I threw the pot at the window, it only resulted in a loud noise without anything breaking. Go figure, it wouldn't be this easy. I tried banging on the windows too. I precariously stood upon one of the side altars and... Come on! Stained glass windows aren't this solid, are they? They feel like metal. Maybe they were. Maybe they were sheets of metal painted to look like stained glass windows. It would explain the noise I heard every time I banged my fist against it. Banker! He was sitting on one of the benches. That's right, she looked a little lonely. Maybe I should talk to her and finally ask her about what she does in life. If I can somehow tie that together to what I know already. Then what? What would that accomplish? Knowing the link between us, what would that tell me? I realized I didn't really have a reason to uncover this, but I had to cling onto any piece of information that could help me understand Smiley's motive. We weren't grabbed without reason, right? Hey, E. As I walked by E, she sensed me and grabbed my arm.
Hey, yes, can you humor me? I want to talk about something I just thought about.
I decided to sit on the bench next to her and allow her that much.
You probably have never heard of it, but it's called the boy or girl paradox.
Okay, das kam aus... What? That came out of nowhere. Okay, klar, warum nicht?
There are two families, the Jones and the Smith. Their family name doesn't really matter here. It's just for difference. The two families have two kids. The Jones really wanted boys. They want to beat the odds and get two boys. The first kid they got was, in fact, a boy. They rejoiced, and then they had a second kid to see if they could have the family they envisioned. Now the question is, what are the probabilities the second, younger one is a boy?
50-50? I didn't know what to make of the question. I wrote 50% on the paper and handed it over. Passed by the circle paradox. She gave it back to me after beaming with a smile.
Yeah, that's correct. It's 50%. Now, the thing is, the Smith actually have had 2 kids already. They also wanted boys, but sadly enough, one of them turned out to be a girl. Oh, it's not sad for the girl though. All of them goved over it, and she's treasured as if she'd been a boy, mind you. Happy family. But the idea is that one of their 2 children is a girl. Now, what are the probabilities both children are girls?
25%? Ja. Nee, 25, weil du hast 50-50 und dann mal 50-50, deswegen. I was confused. I gave you the 50% paper back, figuring I didn't need to write anything else.
That's correct.
Was? Oh, okay.
But it's also wrong at the same time.
Also, although, she continued, explaining after giving me a short moment to express myself. Anybody would be surprised at that revelation.
See, in the first case, the first kid's gender was already established. In the second case, either kid could have been a girl. That means there are always 4 possibilities. Both children are girls, both children are boys, the first one is a girl and the second one is a boy. Or, the first one is a boy and the second one is a girl. Imagine it like that, like a set of ones and zeros and ones. There are the numbers 0, 0, 0, 1, 10, 1, 0, and 1, 1. That way, if you know the first one is 0, you can only have 0, 0, or 0, 1. If you don't know which one is the 1, though, your options are 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. Even though in both cases you know one of the numbers, it's not enough because each of them have their spot. That's why it's a paradox. It's both 50% and 33% at the same time.
Okay. Ich war total falsch mit meinen 25%. Ich bin mathematisch eine Null.
You understand? What do you think would happen if the Smith had 100 children instead of 2? If I ask you, what are the probabilities of all 100 children are girls if 99 of them are girls?
1? No, 50-50. Yeah, 50-50.
According to this paradox, it would either be 50% or something incredibly low at the same time.
Oh, okay, ich verstehe. Ah, okay. Ich war so, hä, gar nicht wahr. Doch ist es, weil 100 Kinder und die haben schon 99 Frauen, also 99 Mädchen. Das heißt, entweder das erste kann ein Mädchen gewesen sein, das zweite kann ein Mädchen gewesen sein, aber auch mittendrin von einigen Dinger könnte ein Junge gewesen sein, deswegen.
Wouldn't that be a way to turn a low percent chance into a 50-50?
I thought about it for a bit, but all it did was make my head hurt. It didn't make any sense. Das ist der Grund eines Paradox. I asked her why she thought about all this. As I stood up and made my way out of the rows of bench, I heard her answer.
I was thinking about Smiley's motive. It's strange that we're being let loose without any sort of guardrail. We can choose our teens. We can mostly go anywhere. What if the odds of their plan succeeding are so minuscule that they're banking on something like this? What if this way, what they want to do is almost guaranteed to succeed because they're making our goals unclear? The wording mattered, so maybe that's for us too.
Klar. Schlaues Mädchen. Was? Das war viel. What's this thing called again? It's not a lectern. The clergy use a special ecclesiastical nomenclature. Was it? Alright! It's called a pulpit. And, interestingly, this one's got something on the surface. 3 lines of text are engraved. A couple, madly in love, proclaims itself king and queen of hearts. Rich in diamonds, coveted by many, they get between with gloves. Unavoidable, as the king and queen put their riches before themselves. This definitely has to do with the card suits in the back. Ja, auf jeden Fall. This symbol again. Surely it must represent something important. What the hell is it though? I saw it on Smiley's clasp, right? Is this some kind of weird religious cross? Interestingly enough, if you follow the line from the bottom and ricochet along the symbols like it was hitting walls or something. You get one long uninterrupted line. That's correct. Not sure if that's ever going to be helpful, but may as well keep it in mind, I guess. I immediately forgot about it. Instead, I brought my attention to the stained glass line around it. There's a small button at the bottom of each window. Technically, they're not windows, I guess, but I digress. I pressed the spades one. Nothing happened. Maybe there's a sequence. Okay. The thing has a name. No, it is an altar! I forgot if it had more of a specific name. I looked at it for a little bit. Normally, these things had cloth on them to keep their surface clean. I brushed my hand on the surface. No dust. This must have never been used, and yet it was also kept completely clean. That's incense. If it was out of the jar of incense, it would be called a jar of outcense. Despite it not being funny, I decided to write a joke down onto a piece of paper. I sent it over to E, who took a bit of time to read it.
Outcense? What is... oh.
There was a small pause when she finally realized the stupid pun. Her crystalline laughter echoed for several seconds. Ah, oh, blessed be her voice. Ich liebe E. Was ist so cute? Ich liebe E. Die ist toll. This was the arc I saw earlier in the security room. Just like I noticed, something was hanging off the covertor. It was some sort of hooked object. That's way too high. I hope we don't need to bring it down because I will never be able to reach up there. Even Jasmine can reach it up, and she's really tall. Maybe if we were several people, we could all hold each other in a tower and... Nah, no way. We crumble like the Tower of Babel. Considering the blind and deaf girl near me, I thought it was an appropriate reference since we couldn't communicate together well. Okay. A couple madly in love proclaims itself the king and queens of hearts. Rich in diamonds, coveted by many, they get beaten with clubs. Unavoidably, as the king and queen put their riches before themselves. Ich versuche mal was. Okay, I pressed the button under the stained glass of hearts. Dann das. Dann das. Nochmal. Unavoidable as the king and queen of hearts put their riches before themselves. Okay, also mal das. 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 Das und das. Nee. Ach, das ist Clubs. Das ist Spades. Idiot. Das ist Spades. Okay. Hearts. Riches. Clubs. Riches. Before themselves. Damn it. A couple madly in love proclaims itself king and queens of heart. Heart eins. Rich in diamonds, coveted by many, they get beaten with clubs. Unavoidable as the king and queen put their riches before themselves. Rich in diamonds beaten with clubs. Das habe ich 1, 2, 3. Unavoidable king and queen riches before themselves. Beaten with clubs. Unavoidable. The king and queen together and make a pair. The writing clearly makes a point to mention riches too. Das, ja. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mhm. A couple. Madly in love. ist auch kein Couple, das ist ein Spade. A couple madly in love proclaims itself King and Queen of Hearts. Also zweimal Herz vielleicht? Rich in diamonds, diamond, coveted by many, they get beaten with clubs. The king and queen put their riches before themselves. King and queen of hearts, rich in diamonds, beaten with clubs. Unavoidable, king and queen, riches before themselves. Warum ist unavoidable richtig? Wichtig. Vielleicht zweimal Herz direkt wegen a couple. Cool. Ich bin bestimmt richtig schlau gerade. A couple madly in love proclaim itself king and queens of hearts. Rich in diamonds, coveted by many that they get beaten with clubs. Coveted by many. Unavoidable, as the king and queen put their riches before themselves. Warum ist das wichtig, unavoidable? Ja. Ich bin verwirrt. Was ist hier hinten? Gar nichts. Ich bin verwirrt, wenn ich ehrlich bin. Ich weiß, worauf die hinaus wollen, glaube ich. Ich meine, ich verstehe, wo Spades wichtig ist. With clubs. Ja. Couple madly in love. King and Queen of Hearts. Vielleicht zweimal Herz wegen Couple. Dann Rich in Diamonds. Diamonds. Also zweimal vielleicht Diamonds wegen Diamonds, nicht Rich in Diamond. Coveted by many, they give clubs. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Gut, das hat auch nicht funktioniert. Gut zu wissen. Oh Gott, ich hab nur Knöpfe gedrückt bisher. A couple, madly in love, proclaims itself king and queen of hearts. Rich in diamonds, coveted by many, they get beaten with clubs. Unavoidable, as the king and queen put their riches before themselves. Oh. Vielleicht muss das zuerst kommen? Ah! Weil die Riches kommen zuerst. Ich muss nicht die Reihenfolge machen, ich muss das zuerst machen, weil die Riches vor den Leuten gekommen sind. Ah, clever. I turned around. The altar had opened its side nearest to me. I walked behind the altar after it opened in the back. There was a lot of machinery underneath. Some gears were spinning in empty space. If the gears had been closer, they would form an uninterrupted chain. Yet, I didn't see how I could have moved them. The socket below was clearly indicating I needed a lever of some sort. Maybe I could go and ask E for some wisdom about this. Hi, E. I conferred with E over the mechanism in the back of the altar.
You say they are gears, correct? Let me take a feel so I know what it is.
I halfly added that some of the cogs were moving, and it might be dangerous. Her hand could get stuck there.
That's a shame. But what about the rest? Are they mobile?
I confirmed that fact. This was quick shredding through my stash of paper.
While he was debating over what to do, I thought it strange this room didn't have a spare lever, somewhere to push into the socket. You'd think this place wouldn't make a puzzle like that impossible. I think I get it. What do the cocks look like first?
I couldn't draw a picture since she didn't see, so I described it instead. The various gears were metallic and held with large axles. The one gear that could move seemed to have some sort of empty socket in the middle. There were other pieces of machinery underneath, but none of them looked like they could move.
An empty socket, you say? Maybe we can stick something there and use it to move the gear. If there's a hole on the end of the axle like that.
That's right.
Maybe we can do that and the lever is a red herring.
Instead then, what I'm looking for is a smaller stick. I had to look around every nook and cranny again to find that little metal stick. Es hängt oben! Da ist es doch! I glanced up the pillar on the side. Over the arch was something I recognized from the security feed, but a stick stuck over the arch. Well, that's the lever I'm looking for. Sadly, I will never reach it, and I don't think I can make it fall down. So, where's the axle I need to find? Vielleicht up? No matter where I looked over there, I didn't find any sort of stick. For a moment I thought I could faintly make out an outline of some weird panel on the side though. Must be my imagination. Just to be safe, I pressed against it. The depression on the surface was flat. Like here? I glanced into the large pot of incense on the altar. If this thing was burning, this place would become spiritually charged. I don't have anything to burn it with though. I absentmindedly dragged a finger into the incense. Wait, hold on. What's this? I dug into it. After taking out a handful, I saw something shiny sticking out the pot. I turned it over and dropped its content onto the ground in a big mess. This is a metallic stick! That's just what I was looking for. Who knew that to find it? I had to make the incense become outsense. Ich hasse diesen Spruch. Following E's advice, I tried manually moving the cogs. There's no way this is going to work. It worked with the axle. The cogs connected and, carefully not to get my hand stuck in there, I removed myself from the premises. A panel opened on the other side of the altar in the back. It had been so silent, if I hadn't moved closer beforehand, I wouldn't have noticed it. The mechanism of this place is well maintained. In the panel, there was yet another piece of technology, a small terminal of sorts. On display was a bunch of numbers. 8624137 and 5. I guess this is a code to escape? I walked back down the stairs to the benches, designed to fetch E. Before we left, though, I remembered I want to investigate the possible link everyone shared. I need to ask her some things, to be certain of my hunch. Okay, anscheinend können wir jetzt Frage-Antwort-Spiel mit I. Auch spannend. Das machen wir im nächsten Part. Der Part ist schon vorangeschritten, die Zeit. Deswegen unterbreche ich hier. Wir haben das Rätsel gelöst, das ist cool. Es war ein bisschen anstrengender wegen den Karten, aber es hat funktioniert. Das ist wichtig. Das ist, was zählt. Ich bedanke mich, dass ihr dabei wart. Und dann beim nächsten Mal reden wir mit ihr ein bisschen und werden von der Rest der Gruppe Anschiss kriegen, weil wir unseren Job nicht gemacht haben. Tja, passiert. Was kann man machen? Dann bis nächstes Mal. Tschüss.